Today we're going to change the AC condenser on this GM Acadia. Follow along and watch. Alright, we're working on the Acadia condenser. It's behind this grill here, so the whole bumper cover has to come off. If you look at the information on the service information, it's got like 6 or 7 hyperlinks. So you go to one section and it takes you to another section, it takes you to another section, and it takes you to another section. So it's a pretty involved job. It's not hard, it's just involved. There's just a lot of things going. So I'm gonna get our machine hooked up, suck the refrigerant out, evacuate it, and then I'll start pulling this bumper off. So there's 6 T20 screws on top of that grill. The top cover was just held on by the push brackets, by those push pins. Okay, we're all sucked out. So inside the wheel well here, there's 5 T20s. The front portion of the wheel well has 2 here and 2 on that side. T20s as well. There's a 10mm bolt here and a 10mm headed bolt here. Both those have to come off. This one's missing. All right, so up in here is the back side of the fog lamps. Unplug those now so you don't rip out the harness when you're pulling the fascia. So there's 3 bolts, 7mm headed bolts right there on that flange that have to come off on either side too. Those 3 bolts are there, there, and there. And that holds that side of that fascia to the body of the vehicle. Okay, so we've got the refrigerant connection right here, 13mm. This thing has these brackets on the side, on both sides, that these are just snap-ins. So up here snaps in, and then it slides in on the bottom. So no bolts even hold it on. But if you get here, let me bring you in close to the, let me bring you in close to where the leak was. You can see it really well. So that's the leak. So we're not using any dye or lights or anything to see that leak. You can see it real clear. So if you look here, probably in the center there where it's really bad is where the leak was, and you can kind of see some damage right there. So more than likely something bounced up from the road and hit it. But we'll get it fixed and get them on the way. You can see that real clear right there. So right where the lines connect to the condenser, there's little seals. We're going to replace those. Seals look like this here. Little rubber impregnated washers. So those may or may not come with your condenser. That's what they look like. If they don't, then you'll have to buy them separately. the new condenser didn't come with a stud, so we got to replace the stud from the old one. So when I do a job, I try to keep everything real organized. So this is basically the order of as I took things off. So the next thing to go back on is this nut, and then these 6 screws that hold the sides of the fascia on, and then the main bolt for the fascia. I'll have to find another bolt because one of them was missing. So we just go down the line, and we know that if we have 6 screws here, that we got to put all 6 screws. We know that if there's only 5 screws here, but there's 6 holes in that spot, then we know that we got to find a screw. So works out pretty good. Keep yourself organized, makes the job go faster. Now that the condenser's in, I'm going to hook up the machine, get it pulling on a vacuum. That way, while we're finishing the job, we can be pulling the vacuum on it, and we don't have to wait that 15-20 minutes after we're done with the job. So it's just a way of speeding up the process. So here's a picture of those fog lamps, and you can reach up from underneath and disconnect those wires. But if you don't disconnect them before you drop that, you can damage the connectors. It kind of sits up in there. Just get it started on there. So if you take the fascia cover, get it started, and get these 2 bolts here started, you can just let it hang and it won't fall. Now it's just a matter of popping everything in there and getting it all kind of situated where it's supposed to be. Okay, get a 10mm for that 1/4 inch gun. Okay, so we replaced the missing 10mm bolt over here, so both of them have their 10mm, and those are fairly important because they're really the only structural bolts that are holding this whole thing on. Everything else is little Torx 20s trim bolts. So we're down to 2 Torx 20s. Those are the last 2 Torx 20s up on top. So we're going to lower it back down. We'll check all of our work down here. We'll lower it back down. We'll tighten up all the Torx 20s at top, and then we should be good to put wheels back on, torque them, and then fill it up with refrigerant. Okay, tighten all those up. Don't forget the one over the end. Okay, now this lays right over the top. Alright, so we pulled a vacuum on it while we were doing all the bumper fascia, putting the bumper fascia back in. So it's held a vacuum that whole time. It's been about 20 minutes. So proof that we fixed the problem. There's no more leak. So we don't need to pull any more vacuum. We're going to go ahead and do a charge. We're going to add a little bit of oil because obviously we lost oil in there. So I'll add an ounce of oil. Our oil has dye in it. So it'll automatically recharge that dye in there as well. So it's 2.5 pounds of refrigerant. We're going to put in 1 ounce of oil. And it's just going to take over and do its job. Alright, so we're all charged. We have about 75 psi static pressure. Recharged with a full charge. Logan, go ahead and start it and turn the AC on. Actually, the AC should be on, so go ahead and start it. Alright, compressor came on, pressure's building, low side's good. Alright, fan came on, brought the high side back down where it's supposed to be. Logan, is it cool? Yeah. Nice cool air? Yeah. Okay. Let it sit there and run. So on this one here, you watch this diagnose. AC blows warm. We did a systematic approach to find our leak. Used UV light, and you saw how you don't need to use the UV light. You could just use a flashlight because it's going to take oil with it. We evacuated the system, we pulled the front bumper fascia off, and replaced the condenser. So this one's a fix. Thanks for watching.